And now to get more insights about these developments, we have on our show this morning ICC Assistant to Counsel Attorney Cristina Conti. A good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, hi, good morning.
May attorney, kayo po ba ay nasa Pilipinas na o nasa Hague pa?
Naku, nakauwi na ako. Natapos ko na yung trabaho ko rin.
Thank you. Gusto ko lang malaman, no, kasi kung anong oras dyan at baka pinupuyat ka rin namin. Pero mukhang good morning na ang bati ko sa'yo. Oo, magandang umaga. Alright, I wanna lead off from the report of Mon Gualvez. He talked about questions on the money that is being used by the Duterte family in visiting the former president. I just wanted to know, because there were concerns about their properties being searched. What is the jurisdiction of the ICC when it comes to that? When it comes to actual being able to enforce a search warrant or get a search warrant, what process would they have to go through? And meron ba silang, kumbaga, galamay pagdating sa mga ganong bagay?
Well, I am not particularly sure if the ICC can issue a search warrant because that would be a local process. In any case, what I know is that the ICC will ask for the identification of properties of an accused. So sa ngayon, sa totoo lang, hindi pa naman siya accused, wala pa yung charges. We have to wait for September. Pero by that time, and actually as early as now, there should be identification of the properties so that in the end, when it comes to reparations, there would be sufficient property or money to give out to the victims. Importante yung dulo kasi baka mamaya na-dispal ko na o nawala na yung properties niya na nung simula pa naman meron pala siya with the view na ang tunguhin sa dulo walang makuha yung mga biktima. Kaya yung identification of the properties and eventual freezing of the properties, mukhang malaki ang tulong na hihingi nila sa local government. And that would be, in this case, the Philippine government. The request we expect to have been given already. Simula nung makilala siya, ma-identify siya bilang subject, sabi namin dapat may ganun ng nauna na request na rin na i-identify sa minimum ang kanyang mga ari-arian.
Okay, so if he is not an accused now, what is he called?
He's called the suspect.
Okay.
Medyo iba sa atin, kasi ang alam natin, kapag may warrant of arrest, meron ng information o meron ng kaso sa korte. Sa ICC, yung information or yung actual na charges, malalaman natin after pa ng confirmation of charges hearing. Kasi precisely, yun yung hinihingi natin sa pre-trial chamber. Can you confirm the charges? So if they find that there is reasonable basis to proceed with trial, sapat ang ebidensya para magtuloy pa sa trial, di saka mabubuksan at magiging kumbaga buong-buo na kaso. So sa ngayon, suspect, pero syempre mataas na yung standard na naabot na there is reasonable basis to believe that he is most responsible for crimes against humanity.
Okay. So if we are not a member of the ICC currently, what kind of participation can we expect from the Philippine government? Do you think at this point that yung arrest ay kumbaga nahanapan ng dahilan dahil sa Interpol, no, yung membership natin doon. But when it comes to the actual participation of the local government, pagdating sa pag-enforce ng mga warrant na yan, reading through everything that's been happening with the Senate hearing, what kind of participation can you expect from the Philippine government?
Well, ako, gusto ko full participation in all respects because of our continuing obligations under the Rome Statute. Nasimulan tong investigasyon na to, nasimulan tong buong proceeding na to, nung member pa tayo ng ICC. At sabi, kahit umalis tayo sa Article 127, may continuing obligations. Sabi na ng Supreme Court natin, sa Pangilinan versus Cayetano, there would be residual obligations. Ngayon, kung sabi, hindi, wala yung Rome Statute, then generally, under diplomatic obligations, I would say that we are required to cooperate with the court to ensure that the administration of justice is made swiftly and fully. Kasi parang pointless din kung kumbaga nadala sa ICC tapos wala namang mangyayari thereafter. Ultimo, ang pinakaimportante dito, meron bang trial na maganap? Kung hindi natin kinaya dito sa Pilipinas, and I point this out, until today, there are no investigations or an investigation or prosecution against the president. Kaya yung mga parang iniisip na hindi ba sapat na nasilip na siya na investigahan, baka ang sinasabi ko ay Quadcom, which is a legislative investigation. Yung inutos nila na DOJ investigation or prosecution, wala pa rin. Kaya from the point of view of the ICC, they are very well placed to continue with its investigation and prosecution because there is none in the Philippines.
Well, the reason why I'm asking for the reach or extent of the authority of the ICC in the Philippines is because I guess the challenge of being able to link the EJK victims with the former president, what kind of paper trail would this investigation need? Sapat na ba yung mga accounts ng mga witnesses? I mean, to be able to have a very solid case trying for crimes against humanity, citing also the other suspects that have been convicted by the court. Kailangan ba ng paper trail? Kailangan ba buksan yung mga bank account? Kailangan ba meron yung actual na written document? Or okay na yung may sabihin natin there's law enforcement na bumaliktad na will serve as prime witness katulad na lamang ni ano pangalan nito yung mga nag-testify na kasama
Kanya.
si Matobato yon si Las Cañas at saka si Matobato. Sapat na ba yung gano'n o kailangan meron pang dokumento?
Mix ito sa ICC kasi they're both civil law and they follow common law tradition. So kumbaga kung anong ginagawa natin sa Pilipinas at sa ibang bansa, pinagsama-sama. Sa Pilipinas, uso sa atin ang testimonial evidence. So may star witness, 'di ba, na magsasabi lang diyan makakapanalo ka ng kaso. Sa ICC, syempre yung ibang tradition naman, yung ibang jurisdictions ay mas bumabatay sa object evidence. Kaya it will be a mix of both testimonial, documentary, and object evidence. Sa isang banda, nakita ko dun sa mga kaso, meron silang premium na ibinibigay sa forensic evidence, lalo na sa patayan. Kaya yung testimonya o kaya pag-aaral ng isang expert patungkol dito, ewan ko kung kunyari, for example, sa ibang kaso, mass graves, na nagmamatch doon sa sinasabi ng isang witness. So, parang it's a mix and a combination of everything. May nagsabi, tapos biglang meron talagang mass graves confirmed, and according to forensic evidence, merong mga nalibing doon, edi mas tumitibay yung kaso. In the case of the Philippines, I would most likely think that one, we already have testimonial evidence from insider witnesses. Ito yung mga, sabi mo nga, mga bumaliktad. More likely, merong pang iba na mga pulis na magkikwento kung paano ba talaga nangyari yung bigayan, yung reward system, tapos yung quota sa panahon ni Duterte. Most likely, meron din tayong documentary evidence patungkol dun sa paper trail, di ba? Yung pera, paano ba yan pumasok? And most obviously, we have Operation Double Barrel, the document that Bato de la Rosa signed July 1, 2016. It commands all the police officers to implement Oplan Tokhang and high upper barrel, lower barrel, high value targets, yan, HVT. At dun nakbanggit yung very contested term na neutralized. And there will also be, I think, object evidence or forensic evidence in this case para patunayan kung yung paano pinatay yung biktima, kahit na hindi nakita or hindi na-establish yan at the time of the death, forensic evidence can show how this person was killed.
Well, there is that argument being brought up online by, I don't know, but the Duterte supporters that hindi naman si former president ang may kasalanan kapag may namatay. Kumbaga, hinabol niya itong mga pero nanlaban or may maling nangyari sa operasyon, hindi naman niya kasalanan pero inako na lang niya. What do you say to that argument?
Ay, parang hindi ko panipaniwala sa dami ng video niya mismo na nagsasabing, kill, kill, kill. Kung naabutan nyo, walang baril, bigyan nyo at hayaan yung manlaban. Kaya, ah, hindi ko alam kung saang mundo sila nandun, pero we can bring up all the receipts. Kumbaga, resibo ko bang gusto nyo? Eto. That kind of documentation will work against Duterte because even if you withdraw your statements or clarify as what they are doing, that this was just probably a joke o kaya hyperbole. Diyan ko sa kanya narinig yun, hyperbole, alam niyo naman si Presidente. It will work against him because he made the, kumbaga, violent, incendiary statements first before clarifying. At ang nakita ko ng mga clarification, nung dulo na, nung kumakagat na yung ICC investigation. Pero nung 2016, 2017, 2018, kung nasa Pilipinas ka, wala kang ibang naririnig kundi kill, kill, kill. At sabi pa nga, sa mga punerarya, mag-business kayo niyan kasi yayaman kayo. Yung mga isda sa sa Manila Bay, tataba yan at pupula ang dagat. Kaya, ang hirap i-deny. Sana, ito din yung isang importanteng bagay na ginawa nila sa Holocaust at posibleng pag-isipan natin. Denial loss. Okay? So, multifaceted dapat yung pagtugon dito sa nangyari. Hindi ito pwedeng, okay, nandun na si Duterte, tapos na. Marami pang ibang may kasalanan. At sa palagay ko, dito sa disinformation, which is on another front, re-victimization of the victims. Kasi, di ba, pasok ko na to, yung tanim EJK, tanim biktima, hindi daw totoong biktima. Nako, nung Holocaust, pag-address nila dito ay sa pamamagitan ng batas. So, legislative action, and they implemented denial laws. Bawal i-deny na nangyari ang Holocaust, bawal i-deny na namatay ang mga Hudyo doon sa gas chambers, at essentially bawal i-deny na pinatay sila ng Germans. Kaya may pwede nang pagsimulan kasi talagang magugulo ka, malilito ka kung pupunta ka ulit sa, may namatay ba talaga? Siya ba talaga ang nag-utos?
Attorney, you clarified also something on your social media account regarding the witnesses. Sabi mo, paglilinaw tungkol sa kanilang partisipasyon, hindi gobyerno ng Pilipinas ang gagasto sa witness, kundi ICC mula sa kanilang pondo. Is that, I mean, all of the trips will be sponsored by the ICC. And the question is, pwede pa bang magdagdag ng mga witnesses at this point? 181 pieces of evidence have been submitted by the prosecution, but there are calls to open an investigation, a parallel investigation here, citing the cases that are not with the ICC. Pwede pa bang mangalap, kumbaga, ng ebidensya para dalhin dun sa korte?
Yes. Until today, the Witness Appeals website or microsite of the ICC is still up. At special yun para sa Pilipinas. Kung meron pang gustong mag-come forward with the evidence, pwede pa. At diretso yan sa Office of the Prosecutor. Kung merong makakalap na bagong impormasyon dito sa Pilipinas, malaya naman na makapagpasa doon. Pero, ang sabi nga namin, yung prosecutor medyo trial ready na Kung kaya na nila. Pero of course, it doesn't hurt. Lalo na sa nasilip natin sa warrant of arrest, parang kulang yung ebidensya or hindi na-convince yung mga judges dun sa usapin ng rape at saka torture. Yung torture, dito namin nakikita na mas marami pang biktima. May 350,000 na aminado yung gobyerno kinulong dahil sa war on drugs. Marami dyan ang na-torture sa loob ng kulungan. Kaya pwedeng tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung palitan ng information, palitan ng ebidensya. Aabot yan hanggang August. Ang deadline nila 1 month before ng confirmation of charges, dapat nakapagpalitan ng ebidensya. And this kind of evidence, this exchange, is not necessarily, kumbaga, everything. In fact, the initial information, yung sa pieces of evidence, yung 181, includes, 1, what is the language that is used in the evidence or in the documents that you will submit. 2, how many documents do you intend to present? 3, how many witnesses do you intend to present? Uh,
So
yung ganong class
181 line
preliminary.
items. O, yun ba yun?
Yes, it doesn't really
Oo.
mean parang 181 names of victims or
Okay. Okay.
181 cases. Hindi ganun eh.
Okay. Attorney, I
Kaya
want to
it could
talk
be
about
anything.
I want to talk about, dahil I don't have a lot of time, no, but I want to talk about two legal aspects. Number one is the liberty of abode, cited by Attorney Alex Medina in the Senate hearing, Section 6 of the Philippine Bill of Rights, saying that bago matransfer sa ibang lugar ang isang Filipino resident or citizen, kailangan muna dumaan sa lawful order of the court. I know this is moot and academic when it comes to the former president, but how do you think does this affect the future arrest warrants from being enforced?
Well, they will always question that. Pero yung liberty of abode, it is, I think, configured within the sense of, pwede ka bang forcibly ilipat yung bahay. And it talks about a lawful warrant, a lawful order of the court, and a warrant of arrest is a lawful order. And so yung parang quote-unquote forcible na paglipat ng residence mo would be covered by that lawful order of the court. Ang iniisip kasi niyan yung mga tipong ididestiero o yung parang ipepersona non grata, bawal kang bumalik sa isang lugar. Mas ganun pa at saka yung freedom of travel. Dito, meron ng malinaw na basehan kung bakit hindi makakalaya agad si Duterte. I would say that we should rely on yung presumption of innocence. Baka mas magandang gamitin nila yon. Kasi, kumbaga, meron ng kaso si Duterte. And that presumption of innocence would allow an accused or a suspect in this case to really avail of interim release. Sabi nila ng ICC na kinikilala nila na may presumption of innocence at sa totoo, pwede ka talagang kumbaga, karapatan mo nga na mag-avail ng interim release. Kaya lang, at nagkaroon na ng exceptions. In our case, tingin namin, nag-a-apply yung exceptions or exemptions, kaya dapat hindi makalaya kaagad si Duterte. And among those exceptions ay pwedeng makatakot ng biktima, pwedeng magkaroon ng tampering with evidence.
So kung si Senator Bato ay pumunta dyan, maaari ba siyang mahuli na? I mean, kasi nagsabi siya na baka bibisita siya dyan eh. I mean, what do you think could happen at this point?
Yes, if the Dutch police, so pupunta siya doon, dadaan siyang immigration, if the Dutch police implement the warrant of arrest, then he could be taken or surrendered to the court. And that has been most important. Kailangan police ang kumuha. Ang Dutch police, member din ng Interpol. So, nadaanan din yan ng whether it's a red notice or a diffusion notice, it's still a notification that this person has a warrant of arrest. Kaya, actually, sa layover, pwede din siyang mahuli. No? Depende yan if the country is a member of the ICC. Member ang Netherlands kasi sinisilip namin to yung kapag nahatulan. So kapag nahatulan, magsiserve ka sa penitentiary nung member state. Sayang nga kung member pa tayo, pwede nating ma-offer yung bilibid. Ang Netherlands, nag-host ngayon ng isa o dalawa na convicted ng ICC sa penitentiary nila, parang Bucor, hindi BJMP.
Okay, bilang panghuli na lang po kasi wala na akong oras with you, no? Yung jurisdiction na the Duterte camp plans to bring up a jurisdiction, to contend the jurisdiction, not when it comes to our membership, but when it comes to the 2-year period that it took for the request for authorization of the court to open. What would you say to that? This was brought up by former Chief Justice Artemio Panganiban on the Philippine Daily Inquirer na kailangan 1 year makapag-open ka ng kaso.
There is no such requirement in the Rome Statute. So I think it is an interpretation and we differ entirely. On our part, sabi namin, if there is any matter under the consideration of the court, and that was a preliminary examination, then we have to continue with cooperation. So, any matter also includes preliminary examination. Baka nalito lang sa interpretation yung iba pong mga legal experts. And we hope that there could be minsan kasi parang pag sinilip mo lang, may tingin ka na, pero sana may mas malalim na pag-aaral pa.
All right,
Walang
thank you
ganung
so
requirement.
much for your insights and welcome back to the Philippines. I hope you have your body clock correct already. Thank you so much for joining us on Morning Matters. ICC Assistant to Counsel Attorney Christina Conti.
Thank you, Gretchen.